Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
This is Joe Bunn.
What's going on, Joe?
My dad used to cuss me out if I would, like if he would say, this is my son, and he was introducing me to another adult, and I'd shake their hand and I'd say, I'm Joe, and later he would cuss me up and down.
He wanted you to say full name?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be a Southern thing. Yeah, but
should I say Mike Walter? Like, should I clarify that, just because there are a million Mikes?
Well, yes, agreed.
And a lot of
million Joes.
Right. We have two very common first names.
Our mothers weren't the most original when it came to the name game.
You know what I've never understood? You have a sibling?
Oh,
you have a sister, right?
My sister, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and her first name is?
That's what I posted yesterday on National Sibling Day. Her name is Ann Davis. It's like a double name, like Mary Jane.
Right.
I barely remember that's her name because she's always been AD.
Oh, okay.
Even my mom and dad.
But either way, that's not the first letter as Joe. My parents, my older brother is Mark, and then they named me Mike.
Right.
And they constantly screw. And they're not the only ones. There are plenty of parents that do that. Same letter. And I'm like, why? And all it's going to do is confuse you the rest of your life. I've never understood it.
Sidebar on parents.
Yeah. So we've been putting up. We have been putting up. Oh, you have a sidebar.
Yeah, because
quickly.
Your dad, like, reprimanded you on Facebook.
I know. Something. I had to go.
I was crying.
I have this very, in my opinion, it's kind of embarrassing. Growing up, my dad's a huge Civil War guy.
He is.
So we used to do these literally Civil War reenactments. It's one of those things from your childhood that you cringe every time you think about it. And so I said, yesterday was Siblings Day, and I said something about my siblings, and my sister's been married now 25 years. So her husband is sort of, I consider him a brother. He's his family. And I said, PG, but you avoided the awkward Civil War reenactment years. Right. And my dad was like, oh, sorry you found them awkward. I know. I felt like I was like scolded.
in front of Facebook.
I know. And I was like, sorry, Pop.
Sorry, Dad. It's a joke.
I'll go to my room now.
I love that guy.
So we have been putting up podcasts weekly. We have not missed, but you and I haven't had a routine going for like the last month.
Yeah.
Because you've been away. You've been traveling. You've been, I don't think we got a Justin Timberlake update. I'm not sure if we did, but tell us about the concert.
Timberlake was excellent, man. I'll be honest, just, top 5 entertainers still doing it today. I mean, I know he's a pop star, and you don't want to put him up there with somebody like the Stones or the Who, but I'm telling you,
totally different. It's a totally different, in my opinion, it's a totally different form of entertainment. But yeah, being a phenomenal entertainer is
he's
great.
Unreal, man. The band, there's 15 band members, probably 6 or 8 dancers, including him, who's just as good as a professional dancer. Right. Singing the entire time, not tracked out. He was great, man. Great show.
Right.
And then, and
then you went to Mexico with the family.
Came back a couple days, and then the entire family, for the first time. We go, to local beaches, and we've been to the mountains here, and we've been to Florida. But I looked at them 4 months ago, and I said, I feel like I have failed you on spring break. For the last 3 years, we haven't done anything, and you guys have just kind of hung out around Raleigh, and nobody's here, because everybody's on spring break. What do you want to do? I said, Disney or Mexico. Right. And both of them said Mexico, so we packed it up and went down
and you kept them nice and protected, because your boys are pretty fair-skinned, right?
The very first day, I'm not sure, we did something with some new, thought to be medical grade sunscreen for that redhead, and it wasn't great, and he kind of got burnt. So then this day 2, we kind of stayed more inside and did things, around the resort, and then by day 3, he was good to go again. But
okay.
it's scary down there, man. I mean, you're sitting on the equator.
You see people sometimes with umbrellas in the tropics, and you're like, that's kind of weird, but that's probably the best way to protect yourself.
Man, I'll be honest with you, Mike. This was the first year I really noticed it. Even the Hispanic guys that are working like at the pool and things like that are out there all day, bringing drinks and things. Even those guys are wearing those long sleeve shirts like I had on now. Yeah,
keep his little skin. Exposed as possible. It's good advice for our listeners as we finally get into spring and summer. You'll be outdoors. And you just said to me before we went on air, you had a consultation with Stacey Nichols?
I did, yeah.
Tell me about that. How'd it go? She's amazing. And she really knows her stuff.
She does. Right? She does, for sure. Stacey Nichols and I talked yesterday for a little over an hour, mainly about blogging and about Pinterest, which are, problem areas for anybody listening. I'm assuming there's probably no real experts on that. It's hard to keep up with the blog. It's also hard to know how to promote the blog and how it's helping your SEO and things. And she's really dialed in with that. So,
well, you may not be an expert on that subject, Joe, but I follow your website and your company's website, and you are pretty consistent. We talked about that in 2 episodes ago. I think we both offered some really good tips about blogging because it's something that Elite has started doing in the last 2 years, and we've been diligent about it. And I mean, if you want to measure success simply on SEO, and I don't know any other way to measure success, we've done great. We were a couple years ago not even coming up on like page 3 and 4 for an organic search, and now we're coming up either at the on page 1 or at the very top of page 1 organically. So it's something I'm proud of, and it does make a difference. All that effort pays off if you do it.
I mean, agreed, Mike. It couldn't be more worthwhile, even though it's such a pain. But and it even kind of sparked me to possibly get back on my YouTube game. We haven't done anything in quite some time, but I went back and I actually went to several DJs' pages, DJs that you and I know, and looked at.
Do you mean the videos that you and Randy have done in the past?
Yeah. And Mike, what's funny about it is I went back and I think I showed this slide. I'm sure I did at the PHDJ workshop. I think you were in the back at the time, and I showed some people. I resorted the order. I didn't sort it by date. I sorted it by popularity. Yeah. And we had probably 15 or 20 videos that had 50,000 plus views. Right. Which I went to several DJs' pages yesterday, and most have 400 or 500 views on their best video.
We have nothing that has that many.
And they were all instructional type videos for the modern bride, if you will. So it was unique ceremony processional songs, unique father-daughter dance songs. And again, these were 3-4 minutes, me and Randy sitting on a couch at the old office. Right. And nothing, literally probably shot with either a GoPro or some DSLR sitting on a stand. Right. Average audio, below average video quality.
Right. So it's not something you have to spend $10,000 to produce. I agree. I was doing it for a while for the industry. I was doing a tip of the week, and it just like with this podcast, which is a good segue. It's all about content, man. It's all about coming up with ideas every week or every month or whatever regularity you want to do it. And I think most of these things die on the vine once people start running out of ideas. So let's use this as a organic opportunity to ask our listeners. Once again, we put out a call months ago and we got tons of great ideas. Joe and I have picked through that list pretty well, and I don't think there's a lot left for us to talk about moving forward. So if you have anything at all whatsoever that you would like to hear us discuss, shoot us an email, send us, leave a comment on one of the, wherever you listening to this, and we will pick it off. Get in touch with us somehow and say, hey, I'd love to hear this as a topic, this as a topic, this as a topic, because we want to keep this going week after week. It's just a matter of coming up with ideas to talk about. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. We've talked about this before. Without the listeners, we're really not doing a show. I love seeing Mike every week. And love talking
I'd love to talk to you once a week. We can keep that. I talk to Big Daddy almost every day. Exactly. We don't record them and put them out there, so I do love chatting with you.
Probably.
But you're right. If this is going to continue to be helpful for the industry, we want new topics and new subjects so we can kick around.
Reach out to us, like he said, any way possible. Email us if you have our emails, or just when we post this on each of our individual Facebook pages in the comments. Just let us know what you want to hear about. We'll add it to the queue.
So, which brings us to the topic of the week, which I would like to talk about a few words that we use in this industry. And what your opinions are. If you listen to Brian and Casey's post or their, did they do a podcast or a video? I guess
I think it's more of a video.
They drill down once again on the word gig, which I know you and I have talked about a little bit, but I don't think we've ever devoted that much time to. You use the word gig internally, or you don't?
I use the word gig, period.
Okay, so you'll even say gig to a bride? I
think so.
You'll say like, hey, I'm looking forward to your gig.
No, I probably wouldn't say that. But I would say, you know, if a bride said, can we schedule a call tomorrow? And I'd be like, oh, I've got a gig. Yeah, I've got a gig tonight. Can we make it Thursday or something like that?
So then you're even freer with the word than I am. I have long made the argument that I use the word internally. I use it on this podcast. I use it with my staff. Hey, have a good gig this weekend, or how are your gig Monday morning? How'd your gig go Saturday night? But I don't use it to a bride, and I'm usually not usually. I think I've always been very good. It's very similar to cursing. One-on-one. I'm pretty liberal when it comes to dropping F and S bombs, and I don't really edit myself, but I also understand surrounding. I don't curse in front of clients. I've never cursed on the microphone. I don't curse when I do seminars. So I know, I'm very well aware how to edit myself. This is language for here. This is language for here. I don't use the word gig in front of a client, but I use it internally. And I've never felt it was that big of a deal. But Casey, but apparently it's something that gets under Brian Bonacici's skin.
He doesn't like the word either?
Casey and it's kind of similar. You and I, we should swap here because they both agreed on it, and you and I are both agreeing on it. So it's not going to be a very vigorous debate because you and I both agree on it.
Right.
But Casey hates it. Brian Bonacici hates it. Casey, and he does this often when he speaks, he looked it up in the dictionary and he quoted the first definition of it, which is basically live musicians, an event for live musicians. But that's only one definition of the word. There's another definition of the word that simply means work revolving music, which fits in. And there's another definition which simply means work. The term gig economy is becoming a new thing nowadays. Uber driving and renting your house out on Airbnb. These are all examples of what is being known as the gig economy, which just means taking work that is not your traditional 9-to-5 type job. A gig is not, you don't refer to your work, your everyday Monday through Friday work as a gig, but you refer to a one-off as a gig. And certainly when we work on Saturday nights, it's a one-off situation. I'm doing a gig at the English Manor on Sunday. I'm doing a gig, you know what I mean? So again, I don't have the biggest problem with the word, but I want to give Brian Bonacici some props because he made what I think is the best point I've ever heard about not using the word. He felt, and he made this point on their video last week. So if you want to go back and listen to it, you can. So you get it from the source, because I'm paraphrasing here. But he felt there could be an argument to be made that the word undermines what we do, even if it's just subconsciously. That I think we'd all agree that there are segments of our industry that need to charge more and feel better about themselves and have more self-esteem about what we do. We are mobile DJs, and that's not something to be looked down upon. And perhaps the word gig undermines that and forces us, even if it's just subconsciously, to look down and not take it as seriously as we do. And it's the only time I've ever heard an argument against the word gig where I went, oh, that's pretty good. I think I'll still use it. I think I'll still probably use it internally for my staff, but it's something that I might now start maybe weaning myself off of, or at least cutting back.
Let me make a point about this though, Mike. I think also though, and I can't, Casey's probably, I don't know how old Casey is, but I know for a fact that Brian Bonacici is at least 10 years younger than you and I.
I think Casey, if I remember, is a couple years younger than me. So I'm about to turn 52. I think Casey might be approaching 50, or maybe he already turned it.
I guess my point is, it's just like anything else that we deal with in this, day and age, especially somebody that's my age or your age. I think that you and I have been lucky enough, and especially musically, I consider myself super lucky, is that I literally was born in 71, so that means you were born in the late 60s.
66.
So, you know, you didn't really get to live through the 60s, but you lived through the 70s, man. Like, you heard all
I have
those
clear memories of the 70s.
Disco and Kiss and all those cool bands and Bowie and all this stuff. And then we had the whole 80s and the new wave, and you and I lived through that. And then the 90s and the boy bands, and then now current top 40, hip hop, everything, country. So I feel really lucky to have lived through those 4 decades of music. But I also think at our age that's where that word came from. Like, I feel like that word we picked up somewhere along the way, whether it was from, you know, I used to manage bands and go to their rehearsals and take them to Nashville and record songs. And then, you know, I picked it up somewhere along, I was in a band in high school. We were horrible, you know, like somewhere along the way, I picked that word up.
Well, Brian makes the point, and I didn't mean to cut you off but Brian makes a similar point that he uses the word gig when he spins at a club, and which he doesn't do as much anymore. But to him, spinning at a club night or a bar night, it's okay to call that a gig. But somebody's wedding or private event or something big and paramount like that should be called something better than a gig.
I mean, I definitely would not call it a gig to a client's face for their wedding. There's no way I've ever done that. I'd say your event, your wedding, your reception, something like that. I'm the same. I wouldn't use it externally. If I fired off a quick email or a text, I might say, "Oh, I got a gig tonight" or something like that. But I wouldn't refer to their personal event as a gig.
Right. So then, dealing with the same terminology and talking about the same words, Thomas Heath had a great post, and I'm looking down because I'm reading it. Thomas Heath put up a post last week that he wrote just because someone
friend of the show, by the way, friend of the show.
Thomas is a great guy, friend of the show, like a frequent commenter, and likes all of our stuff and shares all of our stuff. So thank you, Thomas. Just because someone makes announcements, it doesn't mean they are a master of ceremonies. And that created a vigorous debate, which Brian Bonacisi also weighed in on. And Brian, again, we should have probably had him on because we're quoting him so much, had a problem with the word MC. He feels that word is outdated, master of ceremony, or its initials MC. What are your feelings about MC? Do you market yourself an MC? Do you call yourself an MC? Do you train your DJs as MCs? What are your feelings about that term?
So I remember yesterday when you sent me, you know, you said, here's kind of what I'm thinking is going to be the topic. Think about this tonight. Be ready to talk about it in the morning. And I did. And I even woke up this morning first thing, and I was like, what are my thoughts on this? And I feel like the term DJ for us and for me, I mean, I've always, since I was 13, I've been DJ Joe Bunn. People even address me like that, as if DJ is a doctor, you know, like Dr. Joe Bunn, DJ Joe Bunn. And maybe it's because I have a short name. Maybe it's just because it flows. Maybe it sounds funny. I don't know, but people always call me that. The word DJ to me, Mike, is almost all-encompassing for what we do.
So you think DJ is the umbrella and MC is underneath that, mixer DJ is underneath that.
Music mixer, whatever you call it. Yeah, exactly.
And so answer the question I'm going to ask Ness. So you're proud of the word DJ. You have no problem with it. You don't wish it would go away. You don't try to rebrand yourself as something else.
You know, Mike, that's funny because I remember when I was when Sirius XM first came out, one of my favorite stations, and still is that BPM station. And I remember the Chainsmokers have a show on there, or used to. They have a weekly Friday show, almost like a podcast, where they play the top EDM songs off of YouTube that are charting or whatever. And they were like, if you're a DJ, don't call yourself DJ so and so. The only guy who can get away with that in this EDM age is DJ Snake. And so, you know, because their names are Drew and Alex or whatever, they don't call themselves DJ Drew or DJ Chainsmoker or whatever. And I was like, maybe they're right. And then I started thinking about it and all the history and the 30 years of it, and even thought about, I remember I was going to do a photo shoot one time where I was going to bury the DJ part of my name. Like, do you remember when Russell Simmons dropped Def Jam? He dropped Def, the word DEF, and it was just going to be, I don't remember.
Not just jam, but yeah.
No, but there was Deaf American, Def Jam. But at one point that he did some publicity stunt where he buried the word deaf because he thought it had become dated. So I thought about doing that, and then I was like, no, man, I am proud of it. You know, like that's my title. You know, I mean, if you and I have been to school much longer than any doctor would go to school, you know, we've grown these businesses from nothing. So yeah, I'm proud of it. And
when people call your office or email, what do they ask for? What are they looking for their wedding?
Oh, a DJ.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's always been one of my things. Like if we move away from the word DJ,
right,
then clients have never called us and listen, tip my cap to Peter Mary, who tried to rebrand and create the Wedding Entertainment Guild.
No, that's
I'm sorry if I forget it, but I know it's WED Guild, so Wedding Entertainment Directors. I'm pretty sure that's what that meant.
WED was wedding,
which I think was a bold attempt to kind of rebrand what we do. But the book never became a bestseller, so it's not like it ever caught on. And I always thought that was a little bit, you know, you're putting yourself here, but this is what clients still are asking for. They still call us asking for a DJ. So I think you and I are both in agreement with the word DJ. So let's go back to MC. Do you mind being called an MC? Is that something that you promote at all? Your MC services? Because you certainly do MCing at your events.
Absolutely.
You make your announcements.
Sure.
You run the flow of the party.
Yeah.
So you are filling the role of MC, but is it something that you even care to talk about?
Yeah, I mean,
in the sales process?
I do talk about it in the sales process. In fact, I think, Mike, that there's, excuse me, sorry. I know that there's a actual slide where it says these three things are the most important. You know, great music, a fun and organized reception, and then clear, concise announcements. And then I'll say, let me explain what that means. Like, your DJ is your MC, and when you say a slide, just so our listeners are up to date, you're talking about with the PowerPoint or the keynote that you use in your sales process. Exactly.
Okay.
That we all do. That all my guys do.
Right.
And so when we get to that slide in the keynote presentation or that page,
and if I wanted to view that, could I get that on your selling the music? I could. I could purchase that.
You could purchase it,
and that's available at
DJJoeBunn.com.
Nice.
Okay. You're good. You're real good. But anyway, yeah, 100%. It's something that we talk about. And then I'll even say, let me explain what I mean by MC. And I'll say, my style is very much like directing traffic. So if your grandmother is over in the corner, I want her to know that the cake cutting is up here by my right. So I'll say, ladies and gentlemen, in about 5 minutes, we're cutting the cake. It's right over here to my right. You know, grab your champagne, grab your camera phones, and meet us right up here in 5 minutes. We're going to have ourselves a cake cutting and then get right back to dancing or something like that. And I'll give like a mock announcement. And so they're going, okay, well, he's not going to get out there and start going, well, that was Chubby Checker with a twist. And now run around Sue. Let's go. Mm-hmm. That was my Casey Kasem voice.
Very good.
So anyway, you know what I'm saying. So I'll kind of explain what our style
and so by the strict definition of the word, the cake cutting is a ceremony that happens within the reception.
Sure.
And you, as the master of that ceremony, are directing it.
I directed it.
I think you are filling everything that we think of as an MC and master of ceremony. You are fulfilling that role by making announcements.
Sure.
Like that. So
and
I don't see any reason to run away from that word.
I don't either. I mean, you know, now I feel like, especially I did right before we went out of town, I did a huge conference all day long. And I feel like now the new maybe, and it's not quite the same thing, but it was very, very similar. The new school term is almost this VOG, this voice of God thing that I did for this tech summit, you know, because it's still an MC job. And that was really all I did. I played a little bit of music, but...
Do I understand the term correctly? I always think of a voice of God as a voice, but you don't see him.
No, I was definitely like front and center. Like
I don't think that and listeners, please correct either one of us here. I've always thought a voice of God was somebody off stage.
Right.
You don't see, sort of like a Wizard of Oz type of thing.
Or even
don't
like
pull
the announcer on like SNL or like
on exactly. You don't see him, and to me, that's what makes it a voice of God.
Maybe you're right.
It's not somebody front and center spotlight on the stage, but you hear hear the voice and you don't know where it's coming from.
Maybe they should have changed it on my script to MC
right.
instead of VOG.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was definitely like out there, like right beside the stage, had my booth and everything.
We used to open the DJ of the Year competition a few times when I did it. We would open, and I usually ask Marshall Moore to do it because he's got that great deep. And I asked him to be the voice of God, but he was off stage, not visible. Then he would introduce either Dominic or I or whoever my co-MC was that year. So that's what I always thought of as the definition of voice of God.
Yeah, that's true. I think you're right.
So let's go back to the sales PDF or keynote that you use. Yeah. Do you attempt to rebrand your title in any way, shape, or form? Do you introduce any other term like event host or party host or anything like that? No.
And again, I thought about this early this morning. I don't, Mike, because again, I always play to the lowest common denominator. I always try and dumb things down. Again, the people that come to this office have never hired a DJ unless they've been married before, or unless they were the prom coordinator at their high school 20 years ago or whatever, 15 years ago. It just, they come in, they're very confused. They want to meet with somebody. They want to be educated. What are we doing? What makes you different? Tell us what you do. How would the schedule run? Things like that. So I always call myself a DJ because I feel like that's, again, the umbrella, the all-encompassing. I don't try and confuse people or retitle myself or event host or wedding entertainment director or anything like that. I literally say, yeah, I'm the DJ. And then, as I said, kind of in the middle of the presentation, I explain to them that I'm the MC, that they're not going to have to provide a family member or, God forbid, get the wedding planner to do it, which I've heard a lot of bands won't make announcements and they take the mic and hand it to the wedding planner, and she's, deer in headlights kind of thing. So no, I stick with the term DJ and use that as the whatever umbrella. Yeah.
So once again, you and I have a similar agreement on it. And by the way, I hope I'm coming through right now because you're terribly pixelated.
No, everything's good.
Me, so,
yeah, no.
Okay. So I have a very similar philosophy. Matter of fact, this is one of the things we talk about in our workshop. I have a slide that I put up about, and it's a saying I've always loved. You can't direct the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Mm-hmm. And to me, I wouldn't want to take a phone call and be like, no, DJs, we don't offer DJs. We offer event director, hosts, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do that because I think that kind of rebranding can, like you say, get yourself in trouble because I called looking for a DJ. Right. Now you're telling me you offer this. So the day that people start asking for something different than a DJ for their wedding, I will say, of course, that's what we do. But I'm gonna fill the role that people are looking to have filled when they call the company. Yeah. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I agree with you. I'm not only not ashamed or not, wish there was another term for DJ. I'm proud to call myself a DJ. It's I make my living. I've created a career for myself playing music for people and packing dance floors and showing everyone a good time. And I have no reason to run away from that term. Right. I'm proud of it. So when people call looking for a DJ for their wedding, I'm happy to say, yes, we have 5 DJs available. Mm-hmm. I think we're quicker. It sounds like we're a little bit quicker than you to introduce the whole concept of MC. Yeah, we call our lead guys MCs or DJ/MCs. So we let people know right off the bat they're filling both roles. Mm-hmm. But it's just like you. We very quickly introduce that and let people know. Yes, of course we're spinning music, and yes, of course we're making your announcements for you and being your spokesman. Mm-hmm. So again, this is a little bit tedious because you and I are clashing here and disagreeing with each other and going back and forth. But we're just kind of reinforcing the fact that as far as your company and my company goes, I'm not looking to run away from those terms. I embrace them. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm proud of them.
I'm proud too. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
This is good, Mike.
So we're just coming up on a half hour,
yes,
so
sir.
I think this is good. We'll put a bow on this. Remind everybody that if you do have topics for us in the future, please get in touch with us. Let us know, and hopefully we'll move forward with some new stuff that our listeners have sent in.
Yeah, and I'll give you this, guys, the number again. If you want to text PHDJ to 919-364-6186. If you've already done it once, you're on the list. We hadn't sent out a blast in a while, but when we have something major to promote, or maybe we'll start doing it, every Thursday morning when the episode hits, so you can be the first to get it. Again, text PHDJ to 919-364-6186.
And I just want to give a little plug. I am speaking in a few weeks in Milwaukee at Midwest DJs Live.
What's the
still
topic,
a few
sir?
weeks. So,
what's the topic?
Well, my topic is the keys to a great DJ and MC performance. So mine is strictly performance-based. Look at the roster at MidwestDJsLive.com. There is an incredible roster of speakers and topics. So I'm proud to be a part of it. And I'm looking forward to not only speaking, but I go first in the week, so I can get mine out of the way. And then I will sit there like a student the rest of, well, not just enjoy, but I mean, I expect to bring some nuggets home from this because it looks like some really cool speakers.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's going to be good.
If you have those dates free, it's Monday, April 30th and Tuesday, May 1st. In Milwaukee. Check out the content at MidwestDJsLive.com and try to join us because I think it's going to be fantastic.
It was great last year, guys. I'm not able to get out there this year, but had a great time last year. They've even moved it to one of the Native American casinos this year, which is more in the downtown area instead of like a hotel airport where it was last year. So a little bit more to do, cooler rooms, cooler scenery, I'm sure. And I think Brian B is speaking, and I know he's playing out there, which I don't think anybody was DJing.
Yeah, Brian's dropping a set Monday night. Jim Cerrone is speaking. Jamie Bodie. This is off the top of my head, so I'm sorry I'm going to leave people out. But, yeah, it looks phenomenal, like I said. Good stuff.
Fantastic, guys. Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Later.